What appears to be a single coral is actually an entire city of life? Today, we'll explore one of biology's most fascinating concepts, the holobiont, through the lens of the branching corals, mainly the cauliflower corals Poecilopora favosa and the hood coral or smooth cauliflower coral Stylophora pistillata, one of the most common corals in the Gulf of Eilat. The holobiont is a revolutionary concept in biology that describes a complex ecological unit composed of a host organism and all the microbial and macrobial communities living on and within them. Rather than viewing each creature as an independent entity, the holobiont presents a systems perspective where entire communities of organisms function together as a single super-organism. Poecilopora favosa and Stylophora pistillata are cornerstone species in the Red Sea coral reef ecosystem. These branching corals serve as a perfect example of a complex and dynamic holobiont. Within the coral tissues live millions of zooxanthellae, symbiotic single-cell algae that perform photosynthesis and provide up to 90% of the energy the coral needs to survive. This relationship is so vital that without these algae, the coral cannot survive or build its calcium carbonate skeleton. But the microscopic community doesn't stop there. This branching corals holobiont includes a complex community of bacteria, viruses, and archaea. Some bacteria help digest food and produce essential vitamins while defending against pathogens. Others process waste materials and assist in nutrient cycling. This microbial community changes with the seasons, water temperature, food availability, and environmental stress conditions. At the macrobial level, these branching corals host an amazing diversity of animals. Small crabs from the Trapezia species make their homes among the coral branches, feeding on coral mucus while defending their host from predatory sea stars and fish that might damage it. Pistol shrimp, Alpheus species, with their oversized claws, live between the coral branches, using their powerful snapping to ward off any intruders that dare approach. Large Christmas tree worms, Spirobranchus species, build calcium carbonate tubes within the coral skeleton, waving their colorful spiraling crowns to filter plankton from the water. These worms build alongside the coral in perfect partnership. As the coral grows, it encases the worm's tube while the worm builds its tube higher, a relationship of perfect cooperation. Small bivalves called date mussels, Lithophaga, bore into the coral branches, extending their tiny siphons to filter food particles from the water. The small fish Marginate dactylus live in partnership with the coral, using it as both home and protection from potential predators, while the fish provide aeration and beneficial nutrients through their waste products. These are just part of many more species that share the holobiont of the branching corals. Functionally, Poecilopora favosa and Stylophora pistillata holobiont operates as a shared metabolic unit. Nutrients flow between all components. Waste products from one creature become food for another, and the entire community responds together to environmental changes. When water temperature rises, it's not just the coral that becomes stressed. The entire microbial community shifts. The crabs behave differently, and the worms may alter their filtering patterns. Understanding coral as a holobiont represents a revolution in coral reef conservation approaches. Instead of focusing only on the coral polyp itself, researchers and conservation efforts now consider this entire complex biological community. Damage to one link in this web, such as eliminating certain bacteria or the decline of crab communities, could lead to the collapse of the entire holobiont, even if the coral itself appears healthy. Branching corals, therefore, are not just a single creature, but a thriving biological city, a miniature ecosystem where hundreds of species work together in complex, interdependent relationships. The Holobiont represents a modern understanding of life as a network of connections rather than separate units, reminding us that the boundaries between self and other in nature are far more blurred and complex than the naked eye can discern. In the coral reefs of the Red Sea, every branch of Stylophora tells a story of cooperation, interdependence, and the incredible complexity of life itself.